I think that anybody who is interested probably can find time to read up on me if they think if they think that's interesting. But I just want us to get on as quickly as we can. I don't even know how long I have. How long do I have?
Sir, the class can hold for 1 hour to 2 hours, sir.
That's sorry, I will interject. That's a lie. He has 12 hours. Uncle Calvin, go ahead, please.
I don't have 12 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I would not bore you. But the main thing that I would need your participation. I really would need it. It's very important that in my way, I would love us to have more of an interactive session. I remember when I was in university, the classes I preferred were the ones that were interactive in the way that we needed to, what's the word? We could stop a lecturer mid-sentence when there's enough space, and then ask him and tell him and ask him some questions, something we don't really understand. So I would please feel very free. I think I would try as much as possible to see as many people as possible, so such that feel free if anybody raises their hand during the class to want to speak, so that I might be able to ask them to go ahead and speak. So ethics and journalism. This is really hard because of the society that we live in. That's the Nigerian society. In most other societies, the lines are not blurred with regards to ethics and journalism. What I was doing just before I came on live was I tried to get the definition of what is ethics? What are ethics? They define ethics as moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. The one that is very important for me is the part where it says, or the conducting of an activity. Journalism in this case, you guys can still hear me, right?
Yes, sir, we can.
Thank you. So journalism in this case is the activity that we are talking about, that we want to talk about. So what are the ethics of journalism? How would it impact you by the time you guys hit the streets of Nigeria, or as it happens these days, you don't even have to hit the streets figuratively again. You can do you can work from the comfort of your living room, from the comfort of your cars. But the ethics are still very important when it comes to filing your reports and sending in your articles. It's actually non-negotiable. Where the lines of ethics are blurred is when we start to have big problems. I know when I was growing up, when I was starting out, people, there was this, what's it called? There was I'm trying to find the right word to use to describe it. People used to be very disdainful, very disrespectful of journalists by saying that they collected brown envelopes. Now, a lot of you are very young, so you probably do not understand this brown envelope principle, if you like. What used to happen was that in those days they would call press conferences, and they will invite journalists and media houses to press conferences, and then when they get to those press conferences, at the end of the press conferences, the whoever organized the press conference, whoever is in charge of the calling of journalists, begins to hand out money in brown envelopes to journalists that attended. Ordinarily, this is something that this became really common in Nigeria, and it was frowned at because the whole idea, the impression, and eventually the whole idea of the brown envelope was because people, the organizers of the press conferences, used the brown envelopes to try and skew the reports, or to make sure that whatever is written in a way that will be favorable for so that the audience, when they read it, when they watch the news, when they listen to it on the radio, they will be it will be positive on the side of the organizer of the press conference. Just like most things in Nigeria, when bad things start in Nigeria, it becomes very difficult to stop it. It becomes really difficult to stop it. But to be fair, there are some media houses who frowned at it seriously. They sacked a number of staff who they found out collected brown envelopes. Why? How would they know? This is also another thing that used to happen at the time. When they invite people to these press conferences, they would have a list. They'll have a list of journalists that they are media houses that they invited. This served two purposes. The person who is giving out the money to, I hope you understand this, what I'm trying to say now. The person who has provided the money that will be shared in the brown envelope has to have a record of how that money was shared. So that means that they would have a list, and in that list, when they give out a brown envelope, they make sure that the person that collected the envelope signs on his name that is on the list or the name of his organization. So this, in fact, did I say it served two purposes? Now, let me take it back. It serves three purposes. The first purpose is the person who's giving out money is accountability. He knows which people collected and who didn't collect. The second was that it allowed them to know the people that they gave the money to. So a lot of media houses who were more, how do I call it, objective, or who could afford a lot of things, who did not like their staff doing that, usually were able to obtain this list, and they sanctioned their journalists for collecting it. Now, the third purpose of that list was that these people who were giving the money were able to use that list to blackmail journalists. The last time I hope you understand, because as soon as you collect this brown envelope, what you have done is you have crossed the boundary, or you've blurred the boundary of the ethics of the profession. But because one of the reasons why the people who were giving out the money, one of the reasons why they were doing it is because they hope that they would influence. I hope you mark that word, that they would influence the report, they will influence the production, they will influence the report in such a way that it is positive towards them, even though it is not even if it's not objective, even if it is not the right way to go. So that's one of the moral dilemma that you get into, and these are the things that affect the ethics of the profession. People, even I personally, I explained to there was a I was in somewhere with a former Super Eagles coach, and the coach was he was saying stuff about how he did not trust journalists, and that these journalists write stuff that are not sincere, or they actually go out to destroy his work. And he went on and on because he was very upset about it. He went on and then started talking about how a lot of these journalists have already been compromised by the sports administrators to make sure that they are ready to write stuff that are not correct, or they're able to want to paint they want to paint issues that are probably not correct, and in a way that are against this coach's methods and his results. Now, I need you to really listen carefully here what I'm about to say. Over the last 15 years or thereabout, things have become really bad, both morally and economically in Nigeria, such that I used to say it in one of my groups that Nigerian administrators and Nigeria governments over the years have weaponized poverty. So a lot of people do not earn enough, although there are also people who are greedy, who just want too much. But in the main, there are a lot of people who do not earn enough. They don't have enough money to pay their bills. So because of that, it becomes easy for their ethics, their moral ethics, the line between the job that they're doing to easily be blurred because they offer them, the administrators have to offer them stuff to ensure that they skew their writings, they skew their social media platforms to favor the administrators in the way they want. That you're poor, or that you don't have enough to meet your needs, is never an acceptable excuse. It's a reality, it is the truth, it is a fact, and you need to pay your bills. Very true. But it is not an acceptable way. It's not an acceptable excuse for you to go against the right ways of doing the job. It is not an acceptable way for you to go against the ethics of the activity of journalism. So there's somebody, one of you would then ask that. So what would I do? How would I pay my bills? How would I, because one of the things I said to the Super Eagles manager at the time, Super Eagles coach at the time, was I said to him that I painted a scenario for him. I said to him that imagine a guy, his rent is due. His rent is due. His sons or his children's school fees are also due. He has not all of these things together compared to how much he earns at work, right? In a society where there is no welfare package, it becomes very difficult for that journalist not to cross the ethical boundary and collect any inducement on offer by any administrator. Again, I'm not excusing it, but I'm saying that these are situations that that can arise, and these are the things that what I'm doing, what I'm trying to paint out for you young people here is that so you see, you understand the terrain that you're going to walk into. You to understand that you have to, this profession is almost like teaching. It is thankless. It is not in Nigeria, especially in Africa, it is not highly rewarding in terms of financials. It is not, you don't get a lot of people in high salary band. It is not. So you have to be passionate if you want to do it. There are things that go on in the country that will test you. So if this is, I'm 52 years old. I graduated from University of Lagos long before many of you were born. I graduated in 1992. I want to say to you that if you really want to go into journalism, you want to go into the media space, forget this what's it called, the radio OAP, that Nigeria has found a way to put people in front of microphones and give them radio shows where they are not held in high esteem as journalists. That fries my brain. It drives me mad, because I used to hear them say, we're not journalists, we're just OAPs. You are on radio. You're in a mass media. You're on radio. You are impacting the lives of many people with information. And you are saying to me, you are not a journalist. Go and open a blog or go and open a podcast and tell us you're not a journalist, and we have that. But don't tell me you're in a radio station that people can listen to while in their cars. People can listen to while they're washing up. A true bona fide radio station, and you're telling me you're an OAP and not a journalist. Anyway, that's a different argument entirely. So what I'm saying to young people is that if you are coming into this profession, you are not going to be rich in this profession. You have to be prepared that you are going to, you're ready to impact lives in a positive way by unearthing the truth, by standing for the truth. That whatever you are going to write, whatever you're going to publish, whatever you're going to present on the show, whatever interviews, that's very important. For those of you who eventually you'll probably be on TV, you'll probably be on radio, you would probably writing for a website or whatever interviews you are conducting, you have to be prepared. You have to put it at the back of your mind that you are this person that you're speaking to, this administrator you're speaking to, this sports person that you're speaking to, sportsman or woman that you're speaking to, you are speaking to this person on behalf of millions of other people who do not have this opportunity to speak to that person. So you're going to try and ask the questions that some of them would have wished that they would be able to ask. So when you're doing this, just note that you are representing other people. This is something that I found out that a lot of us in Nigeria really do not grasp the importance of it. That when you are publishing, when you're presenting programs, when you're doing this work, you are doing the work for a lot of people. A lot of my classmates, you must know, you know Simon Kolaole, who is the publisher of The Cable. We were classmates in Unilag, and I consider him a brother. I remember one of his birthdays. On his birthdays, I had his photo on my status update on WhatsApp. We all do that for friends and family. So a friend of mine, another friend of mine who is a judge in one of the states of the Federation, she's a judge. She sends me a message. She goes, "You know Simon Colale? Is he your friend?" I said, "Yes." And she went on a long missive of how she's always followed his writings, how his writings have influenced the way she has thought about things. This is a lawyer who is, sorry, she's going to be a judge soon, but she's a magistrate. And she was talking about, and then it struck me how much influence we have over people because we write, because we do interviews, because we publish stories. We take it for granted a lot. So I remember a lot of the stuff that she wrote to me. I just copied and forwarded to, I saved her name, of course. I did not publish her name. And I sent to Simon, I said, "See you and your nonsense head. See how people think highly of you. They don't know that you're a thug, that this is what people think about you." And he laughed, and he too was very humbled by it. So I'm trying to say to you, you will not, you come into this profession, the thing that if you don't take anything away from this, from all this nonsense that I've been saying, or a lot of these things that I've been spewing, what I would not want you to ever do is take for granted your role in the society. You will never take it for granted. Do not assume that what you're saying, what you're doing, does not affect people. Even if what you do, even if what you've written, even if what you've spoken about on a radio show affect one person, just one person. If it affects one person positively, that person is going to go right ahead and affect other people, right? If it affects one person negatively, the same thing is going to happen, right? Very recently, there was an issue that was going on with regards to Victor Osimhen, Asisat Oshoala, and their reactions to what Victor Kweba was supposed to have said about the Napoli striker. I read a lot of these things on social media, and I found it puzzling. I found it really puzzling that what on earth did Victor Kweba say? I didn't know, because I don't live in Nigeria. I was not able to watch the Monday Night Football episode in which Victor Kweba was supposed to have said what he said. This thing gathered so much steam, and I started asking around that I wanted the video. I needed to hear what Victor said. I didn't want to. See, this is another thing we need to try and. I know it will come with experience, but I wish somebody had told me also when I was younger. It's very important that we try to get not both sides. Well, this is assuming that there are only two sides to a story. No, there could be many sides to stories, depending on the people involved. So I wanted to, all I just thought, my initial thoughts were there was no reason for Osimhen to be downright rude to Victor Kweba. I didn't know what it's about. Mine, there's something I don't joke with. I don't joke with respect. I get really turned off people when they are disrespectful. And unfortunately, I find it that the younger generation, there's nothing you people do not find them. There's no line that you cannot cross when it comes to being disrespectful to people much older. And I don't know why it comes so easy and natural to this younger generation. But it's something that I frown at deeply, because respect is so important. It opens doors for you. I'm not talking about excuse my language, ass kissing. I'm not talking about groveling. No, respecting somebody for their achievements, for their experience. It's very important. Just respect decency. So I found some of the stuff that Osime tweeted. I found that a bit too much to handle. But then I still wanted to find out what it was that Prince of Monaco had said. So I asked around, really. Somebody was then able to was able to extract the audio of the program. And I listened to the whole part where the Prince of Monaco was speaking about Osimhen. And I was very sad. I could not believe that this was what led to this so much insult. Anyway, so that I can play my part in my role as a journalist, I took the thing, I edited it, I put it into a video format, and then put it back on social media. And then I asked people, so there you go. This is what the Prince of Monaco said. Have a look and tell me what he has said that led to him being called Pondit Sonu Adiefufu Moralagba and all of that disrespectful things. And to be fair to a lot of people, they were shocked. They didn't know the full extent of what he has said. So the point I'm trying to make there is I was able to understand my own role as a journalist. And then I said, let me try also and do stuff so that I would influence, see if I can influence people to take better decisions, right? In situations that has arisen. So it's the same way. Again, this is because this is so much about sports journalism. A lot of things you will be exposed to, which we call your ethics to question. Football is become sports is such a monumental business these days, home and abroad. Even though Nigeria is not prepared to classify it properly as a business, because people in government they will enjoy it better as long as it remains in this state that it is. But some of you, when you start writing or you start appearing on TV, or when you start holding your radio shows, people will offer you how do I put it? They would offer you inducements to interview their clients. They will ask you to come and interview XYZ athlete, XYZ player, and all of that. It can be couched in every way possible, but it's important that you carry out the interview and you turn down whatever is being offered you. It's extremely important. I had an example. I needed to go and interview a player in somewhere in Europe, his agent was desperate for me to interview him. And the times when I was free to be able to go, the tickets were very expensive. So he said that he would, I shouldn't worry, that he would pay for the ticket. I said, never. I told him, no chance. You not buy a ticket for me. That when it's cheaper and I can afford it, I'll buy the ticket and I would go there. He now said he tried everything. He said that I should fly to his place and then he would drive me the 1 hour or 90 minutes, nearly 2 hours to where the club, where the player was. And I called his name. I said, dude, leave me alone. It's not happening. I will fly to where your player is because I actually want to talk to him. I will fly there when I'm ready and I'll fly there on my money. And that's what happened. It is also one of the reasons why the agent and I can call him anytime and he will pick my call, and he would know when he's a very good guy, to be fair to him. But when his player is doing nonsense, I always say to him, better go and tell this guy, Chris is worrying him. Better tell him to sit up or stuff like that. The point is, as long as you keep to the ethics of this job, right? You might not get plenty of money. You might not. You could. But the one thing you would have is respect from everybody. Total respect. And I'm telling you, you cannot put a price on self-respect. It would open doors for you. People will see you and say, it's him. It's Michael Ebenezer. I trust him. He would do an objective work. This is Adobe. I trust Adobe Doris. She would do a good job. But she knows the hear word, not the way you tell her which she could hear. What they're trying to say is that by saying she knows the hear word, I mean, if we offer her something she won't take, that's it. That is the reputation you should be prepared to build in this industry. It might cost you a lot of things, but it is a reputation that you have to build. It's I know that it can be pretty tough financially, but it would tough times, as Ben Shula said, tough times don't last. It's only tough people who do. So I would want to say that in partial conclusion, to say to you that being a journalist, especially in this sports industry, before I go there, let me tell you people something also that a lot of people maybe do not understand. By being a journalist in Nigeria, you stand a chance by being a journalist in Nigeria, by working diligently, by working conscientiously, by not straying the lines of ethics, by not blurring it in the stuff you do. You will be amazed at how many opportunities would come for you from abroad. You'll be amazed. You just, as long as you keep at it. As a young friend of mine, because she's now studying here in the UK, she's been shortlisted for Young Football Writers Association Award. They have only 5 people made the shortlist, and she's in that list. I remember I always used to encourage her that just keep at what you're doing. You'll be fine. Keep at it. maintain your dignity. Dignity is very, very important. Maintain your dignity, maintain your self-respect, and hone your craft. I don't know who is going to take the lecture on when it comes to honing your craft. You must, one of the ways you can hone your craft very well is you have to read a lot. You have to listen to people who are already in the profession, who are experienced. You have to listen to them. You have to watch them. You have to sit under their trade and hear what they do, how they ask questions. Then you grow your own style. I remember one of my lecturers in life, Professor Lizzie Ikem, gave an example of when she was a rookie journalist. She called it at the time. She said, thinking about it now, I was a rookie at the time she was calling herself that she was now when she was a rookie. Then I thought, God, how far ago was that? That was probably in the late 70s and early 80s when she was a rookie. So she said she had to go and interview a big personality at the time. So she said she asked, and she was so excited, she was so pumped up to do the work that the first question she asked ruined the whole interview. She said that first question made this personality to shut down. So you have to understand this when you go into the field, when you're, even if it's a call that an interview you're doing over the phone, over Zoom, you have to understand the techniques, you have to read, to be prepared, you have to ask the kind of questions that would keep the interview flowing and make people be ready to want to speak to you often. These are the things that will help. So I pause to open the floor for some questions so that we can continue. Some questions along this the ethics of this profession. Thank you.
Okay, please, if you have your questions, do well to raise your hand so that I'll give you the floor. Okay, Itari, thank God. Please ask your question.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. I want to ask question. I don't know if it is very early to ask, but just bear with me. I know that journalists, they are echoes of the government. They are echoes of the government.
No. Thank God.
Yes,
Thank God. You're wrong. You started on the wrong platform. Journalists are not echoes of the government. Journalists are supposed to be the echoes of the people. If they're echoing anything, they are supposed to be echoes of the people, not echoes of government at all. Actually, this is part of what I was talking about in ethics. The journalists are supposed to keep everybody in positions of influence, everybody in government on their toes. Journalists are supposed to be the ones who would ask government questions of what is going on behalf of the people, because it's not everybody that would have access to asking those questions.
Why I asked this, why I put up this as a preamble to my question is that this is one of, I presume that this is one of the ethical responsibility of a journalist. I may be wrong, I don't know, but I presume that this is one of the ethical responsibility. Because why I said so, because some journalists are being paid by the government. So being paid by the government, I think that virtually they will say everything that will be of support to the government. That is why I use that word, echoes of the government. Now, going forward, we know that a fact remains the fact that journalists must not misinterpret or color the fact, no matter how the report may be. Now, you can always correct me, sir. Now, as I said earlier, that journalists are echoes of the government. Now, how...
Itari, hold on. Itari, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can.
Okay. You've been going on and on over a minute. I know I told all of you, the best questions are the shortest questions. I told you guys, script your questions. Why don't you just go straight to the point and ask the question? Why keep going round and round in circles? Script your questions, go straight to the point. It helps your fellow students and it helps the lecturer to know exactly what you're asking. Do you understand me?
Okay, sir.
Good.
All right. So moving forward, how can a journalist not interpret fact, also not misinterpret fact when they are under the government and working under the government? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let me, like I said at the beginning of your question, journalists are not echoes of the government. However, I always say something about Nigeria. No country turns logic on its head like Nigeria. Most of the things that you find that are logical in other places, once it gets to Nigeria, boom, it's turned on its head. Most Nigerian governments, both federal and state, own a lot of media houses. So in that case, once you are working in a government media house, you are basically working for that government. You're working for that government. It is nigh on impossible for you to be objective while you're working in the media house that is fully funded by the government. So that's when journalists there then become echoes of the government, as you said. So in truth, there's very little any journalist can do in that situation. I know that people who work at all the various NTA and FRCN stations, Voice of Nigeria, the River State, all the state-owned media houses, there's nothing they can do. They cannot. It's not possible for them to be fully objective. They're just going to keep echoing things that the government wants them to put out. There's nothing you can do about that. You will not be objective. Amobi.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. My question borders on, sports reportage in Nigeria. What would be the best approach towards resolving the issue of conflict of interest and balancing of, reports, especially from club media officers?
Club media officers. It's just, that is almost the same thing like I've just said about government media houses. Once I don't know how it is possible for a club media officer to be objective when they're writing reports about a match, or even when they are called to give their views on what happened outside. Or, for instance, we heard about what happened in Katsina yesterday. There's no chance that either the Katsina football club media officer or the Rivers United media officer can be seen as objective in whatever they say happened there. So Amobi, just like the government people, once you're a club media officer, your responsibility really is to your employer in that state, in that regard. You are not, and again, with the way Nigerian employers are, you cannot be seen any attempt at being quote unquote objective. You will be seen as a traitor, and you'll be kicked out of the job straight away. You can try sometimes and feed the real stories to other people under anonymity. But in that role, you are highly unlikely to be objective. And it is not, in my view, I won't even look at them as practicing journalism, because really, what I would say they are practicing is PR, public relations. And in public relations, you owe nobody objectivity. Your job as a public relations officer of an organization is to do everything that will put that organization in good light.
Okay, thank you. In other words, you are saying there is no formal theory of media ethics. It varies depending on the parastatal you are working for.
Right. You see, that's a very good question you've asked. It's really good, Amobi. What I'm saying is that there are some situations where you should not be looked at from the prism of journalism, which is what I said with regards to the media officer. I will look at the media officer as a PR officer for his football club. I will look at him as a PR officer. So I will not categorize his work along the line of pure journalism. I won't. So in ethics, in this journalism, I am looking at it from the view, from the area of somebody working in a private organization, somebody who is working for ACL Sports, Niger Info, Classic FM, and all of these places, AIT, which other stations, Super Sport, all of that. You're not working for the government, so you're in mainstream journalism. Ethics would be absolutely expected of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Amobi.
Mr. Osa, please ask the question.
Good morning, Sir Calvin. My name is Abiyat Molisa. Yes, I've heard a lot about you from Sir Sammy over the time. He always uses you as a reference. But first of all, I want to say very incredible lecture. I'm so privileged to be in your presence. I remember seeing your resume, your profile last night. I was like, wow. Like, it's incredible. So I want to ask, how did you start from Nigeria and get to like the biggest stage in Europe?
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I studied Bascom in like I'm putting finishing touches to my book about my life, and I noticed I remember the how life was for me in secondary school and the battles that I had to fight with my father wanting me to first be a medical doctor, and after that he wanted me to be a lawyer. And I've always hated being a lawyer. I always hated that. But eventually I ended up at UNILAG to study mass comm. One of the things that I noticed in my life was that from when I was a child, I liked asking questions. Once I don't understand something, I will ask. My children unfortunately collected the gene, so they kind of want to drive me mad with questions. And then after I'll be laughing that I remember I used to drive my own parents mad with questions. Once I don't understand anything, I would ask you. When I don't understand, so I will ask you. So it's that is something that I took up with me as I grew up. And when I was um, in Nigeria, during my youth service, I served with I think that's always missed out a lot. This was where I really saw a lot of things when I did my youth service with Godwin Dudorume, and I started producing Best of Football. The first episode of Best of Football was probably aired long before some of you were born. First episode was aired in, I think it was March of 1993, or was it February of 1993? And I was the first producer. So one of the things I used to do was that when we had guests, even though Dudu was the presenter, I used to do the questions. I used to write the questions, the script of how the show would go. And I noticed that I really enjoyed each day, each week. I enjoyed it so much. A lot of people enjoy being in front of the camera, but I actually prefer being behind the camera and producing and telling stories and weaving stories. And this is so key to telling stories. Every story will start with a question. A question you've either asked yourself, like, why is this happening? Or how did this happen? Or how did he do this? So these are the things that, how did he or she do this? How did he or she accomplish this? So from there, you then start to build to see how you can start finding out how to go about getting the answers to those questions. When I got here, it was very. A lot of people have been coming over these days. In the last 5 years, in the last 10 years, there's been an influx of Nigerians into the UK. And I always have this to say to them: you will have it 10 times better than we had it. We had it 10 times better than the people who came before us. That's the way of life. So it took a while before I started appearing on the BBC and Premier League stuff in this country. But that was because of, this is what I also say to young people: you have to keep at it. If this is what you want to do, you have to keep at it. And as you keep at it, like I said to you people the last time I was on this class, this is the best time to be young. This is the greatest time to be young. Sincerely, the only reason why I don't wish I was 21 again is because I might miss the wife that I married. So, but if not, honestly, this is the best time to be young. You have everything. Look at how we're doing this lecture. There's private media houses everywhere. There is telecoms has gone through the roof. Technology has gone through the roof. So this is the best time. So hone your skills. Hone your skills. It's very important. Learn to speak properly. Learn to write better. Learn to edit. Learn to edit video editing, audio editing. You can do all of these things via YouTube. Buy data for yourself at night. Use your laptop if you have, or go anywhere where you have access to the system. Learn this thing, write them down, practice them. It would always come in handy. You will never regret. This is the best time. And I said earlier when I was speaking, by being diligent, by being ethical in your work in this country, you stand a great chance of being picked up by organizations abroad. You really do.
Thank you, sir. Sir, can I just ask a follow-up question?
Of course.
Okay, sir. So, sir, I'm currently under the mentorship and guidance of Samuel Weja. So Samuel Weja, I'm 17, and in the next maybe 10, 15 years, I see myself in maybe behind the mic or behind the camera, in front of the camera in UK, etc. So what are the difficulties that you experienced while being there? Are there any difficulties? Yes, sir.
Right. Olisa, this is the first thing I'm going to say to you.
So I want to ask of the difficult.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead, Olisa.
Okay. So I want to ask the difficulties that you experienced. So you can tell me. So I won't I won't experience the same difficulties.
First, you're 17. There's plenty of room. The first thing you need to do, the very first thing, is go and get your degree. Make sure you get your degree. Trust me, the process from when you're getting your university degree would open your eyes, would open your mind, would open your mind in a way that nothing can prepare you for it. Go get that degree. The 4 years I spent in University of Lagos, I would never swap them for anything. They formed me. They also they improve your human relations a lot. They let you understand how to deal with different people. So these are the things that you need to do. Relax, Ulisa. Take it step by step. Don't worry about UK for now. Just take it step by step. Follow the steps that Sammy is giving, but make sure that education, journalism education is a non-negotiable, because you have to learn, you have to know, knowledge has to be imparted into you first, and then from there you can move on. By the time you get to university, by the time you're out of university at 21, 22, then you can start meandering and moving along the way.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mike Cookie, please ask a question.
All right, thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Michael.
Yes, sir. Okay, so I have a couple of questions I want to ask. I'll just take them one after the other. And while you were speaking, I can't see you. Maybe I wait for you.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Hear you.
All right.
Okay. Hear you.
Okay. So while you were lecturing, sir, I picked up a powerful nugget from your lecture that journalists are supposed to keep those in power or in authority on their toes, more like by bringing maybe vital information to those that will not be ordinarily able to access or reach them. So my question is, what do you do as a journalist when you hit a roadblock in trying to access a vital information from within government cycle? That would be my first question, sir.
The first thing that governments the worldwide do is, especially in countries like ours, they block access to information that are not palatable to them, that they don't want the public to know. They try to block out. They try to block it out so that nobody will find out. So that's where investigative journalism comes in. That's where people see. You have the thing that you really have to do is not something rookie journalists can do. It's what comes with experience. Usually experienced journalists have contacts in government. They have sources in government, sources who you cultivate over the years. They tend to trust each other, that they can give you information anonymously that you can use for it. For instance, I know in terms of sports in Nigeria, I know the information that I get before they become public. But that's because I have people that trust me, and they know that even when I use it, I would make sure I'll protect my sources, and I will use it in a way that it can never come back to them. So these are the things that come with experience. These are things that come with a lot of people who have been in the field for long. So it's not a young journalist might be able to break through once in a while, but it's usually very difficult because the government would try as much as possible not to release info that will not be good for them.
Okay, so I get that. I think the catchword there is to be able to have contact and sources within the system as a journalist. Yeah, well taken, sir. Okay, so my second question, sir, would be: are there policies or safety covers for journalists that cover them in course of doing their job or their duty? I mean, like maybe life assurance cover, because sometimes they are exposed to all sorts of vices. As a practice or as a conduct, do journalists have such covers for them?
That's very interesting, and that's very real, actually. In Nigeria, except for, okay, let me put it this way. Ever since this Boko Haram stuff started, and we've had a lot of stuff going up. When it first started in the northeast of the country, lots of foreign journalists were coming from Europe and Americas to come there. Their organizations, I know this, in fact, their organizations, some of them are freelancers, to be fair to them. Some of them are freelancers. And as a freelancer, most of them probably quite normal, will probably have their own individual person in their individualized life insurance that covers them. The thing about insurance people is they would ask you before you take cover, before they give you coverage, they'll ask you what you do, And for somebody who is a war reporter, a war journalist who goes into crisis areas, they will give you cover, but a lot of the cover, the premium you pay will be a lot. So in a broad answer to this question, depends on the company you work for, depends on the type of journalism bit you do. The company you work for might have life insurance for everybody. Number of staff might have life insurance. Or you yourself can take your own personal life insurance. But there are no hard and fast rules with regards to that. I think really it's the individual mostly, especially in Nigeria setting, is individual or the companies that you work with that would take out insurance policies on your behalf.
Wow, interesting, sir. That's nice to hear. So finally, I would just want to ask my final question, and it's directly to you, sir. I would like to know what's been your biggest challenge in practicing journalism? As a journalist, what's been your biggest challenge?
What's been my biggest challenge? This might sound funny, but as for somebody who loves traveling, this is also funny. Someone who loves traveling, I also hate traveling. I hate being away from family. It usually makes me, after 2 or 3 days, I get fed up. I know a lot of people who are looking forward to go to cover tournaments. In football, you go to tournaments, you go to cover World Cup, Olympics, AFCON, all of those things. I don't remember going to cover any of those ones that I never hated it in the end. Because I was away for too long. I was away. For somebody who, because I don't drink or I don't party, I generally just stay in my hotel room. So I used to just, so I just want to go home and come back. If I can just go home and come back. So yeah, it's probably biggest challenge is probably traveling. But at my age now, I don't get the urge to travel anymore to cover tournaments. Really don't get that much urge. But that for me is what I would call my biggest challenge.
Wow. That's interesting, sir. Thank you so very much for answering the question.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Mr. McDonald Samuel, please ask a question.
All right. Thank you, sir. My name is McDonald Samuel. I've enjoyed the class, and it's quite unfortunate that network has been so poor over here. And but the little I was able to be in this session, I want to ask one question. Now, in journalism, I am so much interested in sports journalism. So, in journalism, when it comes in terms of sports journalism, is there major thing as a sports journalist that you must consider while on your duty in the case of a talk show and sports presentation? Is there major thing that you must consider as a sports journalist?
McDonald, thank you for the question. Like the most important thing is, this is why I was saying earlier, I don't know if network allowed you to understand it. You must have information. You must that's why I said you have to read a lot. You have to listen a lot. You have to watch, experience really a lot. The most important thing is that you must have information also. You can't be asking questions from, you can't pluck questions from the thin air. You can't hold the attention of the person that you're speaking to. You can't write up to a page of something without repeating yourself if your information level is very low. So if there's something that you do need to know, you also have to have information about whatever it is you want to talk about. As Sammy knows very well, I have zero interest in Formula One. So because of that, I would not read anything about Formula One. I might read something, I might browse through it, but there's no way I won't see Lewis Hamilton now. And somebody says to me, go and interview Lewis Hamilton. No chance. What am I interviewing him for? I don't know anything about what he does. Do you get? So if you're going to be in this industry, whatever it is that you really want to talk about, you must collect, you must soak up like a sponge. You must soak up the information, sponge the information about it. So when they wake you up in the morning, just wake you up in the morning and ask you a question or ask you to talk about it. You'll be in a position to let them, whoever it is that is listening, to know that you actually know what you're talking about.
All right, thank you, sir, so much. Thank you, sir.
Go on, Doris.
Okay, sir. As a journalist, when you're trying to relay an information, either through writing or presenting, how do you get the public, the consumers of this content that you're about to put out or talk about, to trust what you're saying, especially?
Doris, start again. The network was doing like this with your questions.
Oh, okay. I said, as a journalist, when you want to relay an information, either through writing or presenting, how do you get the public, as the consumers of this content that you want people to listen to or read, how do you get this public to trust your content, especially as a rookie or a newbie?
As a rookie, the thing that will help you will be the platform that you're using. It's a platform that you're using that would because when a lot of times when the audience go in search of news, they don't go in search of the news writer. They don't go in search of the presenter. They go to the platform first. When I go on the BBC website, I'm not going to look for what David Ornstein or forgotten the chief football writer's name again. I don't go there to look for what he wrote. I'm just going onto that platform to look for the information there. Do you get? I think social media has made a lot of people forget that it's platforms first before the individual. That's something that a lot of people have forgotten. When you change your TV station, you turn your decoder to CNN, or when you go to Al Jazeera, or even the BBC, you're just going to that channel. You see, you're going to that channel. You're not going to go and search out for the individual. Although BBC, CNN have been able to individualize almost all their programs. Almost all their programs, they need to individualize it. That we now go to Becky Anderson, Wolf Blitzer, and all of these people. Stop, I've been waiting in a long time. So it's for the rookie, the individuals, his platform, his or her platform is what would drag the audience first.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
So, in the absence of any more questions, I think that I can release the class. If the class releases me, because the class has released me, because there are no more questions. I thank you all for being a part, and I sincerely hope that I've been able to impart something, no matter how little, in your career, in your life, in your mind, as you decide to go down this route of this profession. Just remember that your self-respect is very important, and you use that self-respect to work the lines of the ethics of the profession. It's a non-negotiable. If you're going to sell out, nobody can stop you, but you would know that you will not be respected. You have to. What somebody will ask me that, what exactly is that we can do that will mean that you've broken the ethics? Anytime, this is a simple way to put it. Anytime you write a report, produce it during your news, during your production, that you know between you and your maker, you know that this thing you're doing has been influenced by somebody outside that is making you go down the route that you're going down. As soon as you know that you have crossed the line of the ethics. Also, we must not also forget that that covers a different area that I'm sure somebody else would do. That you need to also be sensitive to the audience that you're broadcasting, publishing, or writing for. That is not everything that should go, but I'm sure somebody else would take that course as the days and the weeks turn into months. Thank you, Adobe class captain. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you for having me.
Okay, just before you leave, sir, this is Sammy. Just before you leave, sir, on behalf of everybody, I want to say a very big thank you to you, sir, Uncle Calvin. I was also a student today. I listened, I followed everything from beginning to end, and I know I'll be echoing the sentiments of everyone if I say we've all been richly blessed, we've been enriched, and we're smarter, we're wiser, we're more experienced than we were just over an hour ago. So we won't keep you any longer. We want to say a very big thank you to you, sir, and we will make you proud. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you,
Adobe. Okay. So Uncle Calvin will leave, but everybody should stay on. I will address us very quickly. Uncle Calvin will leave. He's done with us, but I will address everybody. Uncle Amobi, do you still want to stay with us? Are you still with us, Uncle Amobi?
Yeah, I'm here if you have other programs.
No, you can stay. You can stay. You can stay. Okay, why I did this? The person who you just heard, a lot of you might think he's a student. He's actually not a student. He's one of my guys, but he wanted to learn, and he saw I put up something on my status, and he saw it. He asked for the link, and he's joined. Learning never stops. You stop learning the day you die. So I was very disappointed to see that some persons came late. Some persons were going on and off. Somebody posted in the group along the lines of, my network is disturbing me. I'm embarrassed. I'm disappointed. No student of mine should ever say this. You should never say that. Adobe, unmute your mic. Adobe, unmute your mic. I want to ask a question. And I know that if I ask this question, everybody can answer this question. Adobe, what do champions not make?
They don't make excuses.
You can mute your mic. And somebody is telling me, my student, my child, somebody who I've been training for the last 2 weeks is telling me that his network is good. Why do we do these things? That aside, that's an aside. Number two, I'm very disappointed in all of you. See, I'm not Uncle Calvin. No, I don't pet anybody. Me, I told you guys, you guys will pass through fire. The objective is to make all of you better than I am. So if I start pampering you guys, you will never achieve set objectives. It can't happen. I told all of you the very first day we met, I said the best questions are the shortest questions. And I interjected the first person who was asking a question, believing that everybody was going to take a cue. But it didn't happen. Not one person scripted his questions. Olisa, I want you to unmute your mic. Olisa, unmute your mic. Have you done that? Olisa,
yes,
can you hear me? Good. Olisa, your own, I'm going to take it personal. Because you're somebody that will work. Okay, let me say this publicly. Olisa, I have completed modalities for you to join Megalectrics. You don't know this, but I want to say this. But I'm saying this because I said to all of you that you're the luckiest set of individuals that I've met. This is a project that I've taken personally. I've not had time this last 1 week. Those who follow me on social media, you've seen that I've been up and up. I only came back to Port Harcourt late yesterday night. I went to Lagos. I've not been around. I met the owner of Megalectrics, Mr. Chris Ubosi. He's going to lecture us. I'll repeat for emphasis, Mr. Chris Ubosi. He owns Beat FM, Abuja, Lagos, Ibadan, Port Harcourt, London. He's going to lecture. What this means is this. This man can get impressed by one person and you have a job on the spot. This is not just the owner of Beat FM, Classic FM, Nigeria FM, Lagos stuff. This is one of the biggest captains of industry. So, like I said at the start of this, you're going to be exposed to the very best in the industry, the very best in the world. The gentleman I just spoke to, Uncle Amobi, he works with UEFA. He's one of the biggest names in the world. I will speak to him. I know he will not turn us down. He's also going to talk to us. Olisa, I asked you to unmute your mic because the same thing. And I want you to come and work with me personally. I want you to replace me by the time I say, okay, I'm handing the baton. And the shoes are very big. You heard me correct the first person saying the best questions are the shortest and you guys should script your questions. Olisa, what did you do? You want Uncle Calvin to notice you. You want to impress him. You can't know more than the lecturers. Go straight to the point. You are telling him how you want to do this, how you are 17. I don't care about that. What is your question? Go straight to the point. I keep begging you guys. The lecture took place and lasted for over an hour. As the lecturer is, see, everything Uncle Calvin said, everything. I can tell you all of them, the bullet points. I was taking down notes. I don't think any of you is as knowledgeable or as experienced as me, apart from Uncle Amobi. I don't think there's any one of you who is, but I was a student. I was listening. The reason why I wasn't joining the classes before now was because I was so busy this week. Now I'm back in Port Harcourt. I followed the classes from beginning to end. I didn't just follow. My people, I was taking down notes. I was jotting down the bullet points of what he was talking about how you should not talk about gratification, about how he was asked by a legend to fly to come and interview him, wanted to pay for his flight ticket. I scripted questions. Nobody asked those questions I thought you guys were going to ask because you were not following, you were not taking down notes, and you were not scripting your questions. I'll let you guys go, but tomorrow we're all going to meet in my office by 10 in the morning. There are lots of developments which I will inform you about. The training is turning out to be much bigger than I even envisaged. A lot of things have happened positively in the last one week or so. I'm going to update us on everything that's happened. And then the lecture that I started, we're going to complete that lecture. In summary, I beg all of you, don't go back home now or go to your boyfriend's house and go and sleep and chop. No. What did Uncle Calvin talk about today? Did you take down notes? We have a YouTube channel. These things are capital intent. I know how much of my money I've spent to make sure that this flies. I know how much of my money I've spent to make sure that you guys have the best. Don't let me down. Don't let Uncle Calvin down. Don't let Uncle Amobi down. Those people who are going to lecture you between now and the next 2 months, don't let us down. How will you not let us down? By taking notes, by practicing. Chimama is going to post in the group later today the Zoom link recording and the YouTube recording of everything we're doing. We'll have a YouTube page. Make those sacrifices. Go and get data. If you cannot afford it, Uncle Calvin said it earlier, get the night plan. Make the see, no pain, no gain. No pain, no gain. It's just like guys who go to the gym. You go to the gym, you suffer every day. They pain you, they shout. You come out and then there are 6 packs. The man who goes to eat eba and fufu and goes to the club, he doesn't have that. When you put in the hard work, you will see the rewards. So I beg of you, make our time, go and study everything that you learned, not just today, but in the past. Those classes that you think Mr. Sami was not there, he was there. Adobe, unmute your mic. When you've done that, let me know.
I have, sir.
Adobe, correct me if I'm wrong. I was not live on Uncle Godwin and Nayena's class. I wasn't in that class live. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct, sir.
The first thing Uncle Godi said, he talked about going to FRCN school, Nigerian Institute of Journalism. He said the most important thing is passion, that if you don't have passion, you can't do this job. Am I lying?
No, sir. That was the first thing he said.
I know that the class, but I go through all the, see, I told you guys, I said I don't miss nothing. I don't miss anything, nothing. I pay attention. See, my wife will always joke and say, you shouldn't be in Nigeria. You're not a human being. Don't compare yourself to others. Now, lie you, and I go try today like me. I go through everything. I don't miss out on anything. While you guys were sleeping, I was watching the videos. I was listening to everything. I go through all your assignments. You think I don't, everything you write, I check it. There are corrections I wanted to make. I say I will make those corrections when you come here tomorrow. See, listen to me. Chop well. If you like Eba, chop it well tomorrow. I'm canceling everything I'm doing. All my engagements, I'm canceling everything. I'll come with a big cane. People that I will flog them. I'm not going to pet anybody. Because the idea is simple. We've done 2 weeks. We've got 6 more weeks to go. After then, I'll place all of you, I'll place you on internship in different radio and TV stations. Olisa, don't mess up. I've done 90% of everything to see that you come and start working with me. Then you mess up. I don't need permission. I will sack you myself. I'll sack you. Go. You get somebody else and replace you. So everybody prepare, sleep well, rest well, go through your notes. I'm going to ask questions. We're going to have an exhaustive and comprehensive revision package tomorrow. And in 6 weeks' time, everybody will be better than me here. In Jesus' name. They don't want to say amen. They're angry. In Jesus' name, see them. Sad people.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. The Bible says faith without work is dead. Work for it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a wonderful day, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.